Imagine this, it's 1893. Horse-drawn carriages rule the streets, but in a tiny workshop, two brothers named Charles and Frank Duryea are piecing together what would become the first gasoline-powered car built in America. Long before Ford's Model T made cars affordable for the masses, the Duryea Motor Wagon Company was paving the way for an entirely new era of transportation. Now, fast forward to the 20th century, and America's automotive history is filled with icons that not only defined generations, but shaped the way the world viewed cars. From luxurious cruisers to raw muscle cars, and even the modern electric revolution, these cars are more than machines, they're legends. So buckle up as we take a journey through the most iconic and well-known American cars, starting from the early 1900s and speeding into the modern era. Back in 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Ford Model T, a car so transformative that it was revolutionary. He had a bold vision to build a car that everyone could afford. And he did it. Originally, it sold for $850, which was already a steal compared to its competitors. But by the 1920s, Ford's innovative assembly line had brought the price down to just $260. Imagine that, owning a brand new car for less than the cost of a smartphone today. Its 2.9-liter four-cylinder engine cranked out 20 horsepower and could reach a top speed of about 45 miles per hour. That might not sound fast today, but back then, it felt like flying. Also, it could run on gasoline, kerosene, or even ethanol. A handy feature for farmers who could make their own fuel. By the time production ended in 1927, over 15 million Model Ts had been sold. It was so influential that for decades it held the title of the best-selling car in history, only to be surpassed by the Volkswagen Beetle in the 1970s. As we move into the 1950s, America was thriving. Post-war prosperity brought with it a booming car industry, and automakers began crafting cars that were more than just transportation. They became symbols of style, luxury, and innovation. Two cars that defined this era were the Cadillac Eldorado and the Chevrolet Corvette. Let's dive into what made them unforgettable. First up, we have the Cadillac Eldorado, introduced in 1953. Designed for the elite, the Eldorado was Cadillac's flagship model, and its name itself translates to the Golden One. It was instantly recognizable with its chrome accents, sleek curves, and a convertible top that practically begged you to take it out on the open road. It even came with a then groundbreaking feature, a wraparound windshield. Yes, something we take for granted today was a cutting-edge innovation back then. And let's not forget the interior. This wasn't just a place to sit, it was an experience. Leather upholstery, power windows, and even a signal-seeking radio came standard. At a price tag of around $7,750, about $80,000 in today's money, the Eldorado was for those who wanted to make a statement. But it wasn't just about looks. The Eldorado was powered by a 5.4-liter V8 engine producing 210 horsepower, plenty of muscle for the time. And those tail fins? They became a signature feature of Cadillacs and a hallmark of 1950s car design. So here's a question. If you had one of these today, would you cruise around town or just keep it polished in the garage as a collector's piece? Let us know in the comments. That same year, another legend was born, the Chevrolet Corvette. While the Eldorado focused on luxury, the Corvette was all about performance and style. Designed to compete with European sports cars, Chevrolet created something uniquely American. Under the hood, the 1953 Corvette came with a 150-horsepower inline-six engine, paired with a 2-speed automatic transmission. Now, those numbers might seem modest today, but back then, it was enough to deliver a thrilling driving experience. It was sporty, responsive, and unlike anything else on the market. Chevrolet only made 300 units of the 1953 model, making it incredibly rare and sought after by collectors today. Over time, the Corvette became known as America's sports car, and for good reason. It set the standard for American performance vehicles and continues to be a symbol of innovation and speed. The 1960s brought a revolution on wheels. This was the era when cars became louder, faster, and unapologetically bold. Our first stop is 1964, the year Ford introduced the Mustang, and the automotive world was never the same. It was available in a dizzying array of options. Buyers could choose between a coupe, convertible, or fastback, and customize it to fit their personality. Under the hood, anything from a modest inline six to a roaring V8, like the 289 cubic inch engine producing 271 horsepower. And here's the kicker. Ford sold over 400,000 Mustangs in its first year alone, making it an instant classic. The Mustang didn't just redefine car culture, it became a symbol of freedom. From Steve McQueen's famous chase scene in Bullitt to countless drag strips, the Mustang was, and still is, a star. A few years later, Dodge entered the muscle car war with the Charger, and it was an absolute beast. With its fastback design, wide stance, and massive engine options, the Charger was built for one thing: dominance. The 1966 Charger came with a range of power plants, but the 426 cubic inch Hemi Five 8 was the one everyone wanted. Producing 425 horsepower, it turned the Charger into a street-legal drag racer. Its bold design, from the hidden headlights to the full-width taillights, gave it a menacing presence that said, "Don't mess with me." A few decades later, the 2000s were a turning point for American cars. First up, we have the 2005 Ford GT, a car that was more than just a supercar. It was a tribute to Ford's historic victory at Le Mans in the 1960s. Designed to celebrate the Ford GT40, which famously beat Ferrari, the 2005 Ford GT brought that legacy into the 21st century. But it wasn't just about looks. The Ford GT was built for speed. Powered by a 5.4-liter supercharged V8 engine, producing an impressive 550 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. With a top speed of 205 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 time of 3.3 seconds. It wasn't just a tribute, it was a serious contender in the supercar world. Built with lightweight materials like aluminum and carbon fiber, the GT delivered razor-sharp handling. Only 4,038 units were produced between 2005 and 2006, making the Ford GT a highly sought-after collector's item today. Next, we have the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, introduced in 2001 as the high-performance version of the fifth-generation Corvette C5. If the Ford GT was a limited edition masterpiece, the Z06 was the everyman supercar, delivering blistering performance without breaking the bank. The Z06 was powered by a 5.7-liter LS6 V8 engine, producing 385 horsepower when it debuted. But by 2002, Chevy had bumped that up to 405 horsepower, giving it a 0 to 60 time of just 4 seconds. Chevy's engineers even used lessons learned from the C5R race car to improve the Z06. The result? A car that could dominate both the racetrack and the highway. And with a starting price under $50,000, it was a bargain compared to its European competitors. Now, as we enter the 2020s, the automotive world is experiencing a transformation unlike anything before. Electric cars are on the rise, SUVs are being reimagined, and nostalgia is making a comeback. First up, we have the Tesla Model S, a car that didn't just define the 2020s, it started redefining cars as early as 2012. While Tesla may have introduced it years ago, the Model S remains at the forefront of electric vehicle innovation. Why? Because it does everything: luxury, performance, and zero emissions. It's the car that made electric vehicles not just practical, but desirable. The latest performance variant boasts a 1,020 horsepower tri-motor setup, launching it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a mind-blowing 1.99 seconds. With a top speed of 200 miles per hour, it's not just fast, it's faster than most supercars. But speed isn't its only trick. With a range of over 400 miles on a single charge, it proved that EVs could rival and even surpass gasoline cars in practicality. The Model S also reimagined what a car's interior could be. With its minimalist design, giant center touchscreen, and constant software updates, it feels more like driving a smartphone on wheels. And let's not forget about Tesla's autopilot. a feature that hints at a self-driving future. So here's a question. With EVs taking over, do you think cars like the Model S will become the new normal? Or will enthusiasts still crave the roar of a gas engine? Let us know in the comments. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the Ford Bronco, a name that evokes adventure and nostalgia. After disappearing for over 2 decades, the Bronco returned in 2021, and it came back swinging. The new Bronco comes with everything you'd want for an adventure. It offers GOAT modes, go over any terrain, a powerful EcoBoost V6 engine, and options for 2 or 4 doors. And let's not forget the removable roof and doors, letting you customize your ride for any journey. But what really sets the Bronco apart is its versatility. With its advanced suspension, locking differentials, and impressive ground clearance, it's built for serious off-road enthusiasts. The Bronco's return is more than just a car. It's a cultural moment. Ford managed to honor the legacy of the original while creating something entirely new. If you could take one for an epic road trip, where would you go? It's funny when you think about it. These cars are more than just machines. They're part of who we are. They've shaped how we travel, how we live, and even how we dream. Whether you're into muscle cars, sports cars, or something that takes you off the beaten path, there's a car out there that feels like it was made just for you. So, let me ask you, if you could pick just one of these legends to drive, which one would it be? Or maybe you've got your own story with one of these cars. Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for coming along on this journey through America's automotive history. If you had as much fun as I did, go ahead and hit that like button. And hey, don't forget to subscribe. We've got more stories to tell, more cars to explore, and more memories to make. Who knows? Next time, it could be your dream car in the spotlight.